Another day, another frame. HGLRC is known for making flightboards and 4-in-1 ESCs. However, they also made a frame called the Batman220. We're going to take a look at that today. So here's everything included. A couple of interesting things that I see here. This arm is all rounded off on the edges. Makes it really nice. It also only has 3 motor mount holes, so if you're kind of paranoid about having 4, then, you know, just be aware this one only has 3. I think 3 is okay. I used to fly bigger motors back in the day when I only had 2 screws in each of them, and as long as I had thread locker, they seemed to be okay. They didn't fall off or anything. Also, this looks like the top plate and the bottom plate, and then here's the middle plate with the that's built into it. So they're kind of pressed in there to make it so you don't have to hold anything still up on the top, which is kind of nice. Now this one is designed to have the camera mount inside some carbon fiber pieces, so you don't have to use 3D printed pieces. Also, and this is the first I've seen, these spacers are matte black. That is awesome. Most of the stuff I've seen in the past are all shiny. Also, battery strap stickers and some screws. So here's the Batman220 fully assembled, and these chamfered edges sure make this feel nice. It's not at all cutting anything, and if you run your wires down around these arms, it's not going to have a tendency to cut them even in a crash just because they're all chamfered off, and makes it nice and smooth. Now on this, like I said, it does have these solid mounts here that are for your run cam micro to go inside here, and that's going to hold the camera in place instead of using 3D printed pieces that come off of these side mounts. Now some people like to use the 3D printed pieces because they tend to do a little bit more vibration dampening for the camera, so you don't get as much jello in it, whereas these may tend to be a little bit more, may have a little bit more jello depending on how much vibrations your motors are putting off. Now on the bottom here you can see it does have these larger size holes in the bottom, and that's so that you can run your 30.5 by 30.5 flightboard up there, and you can put the screws in through the bottom plate without having to take the bottom plate off, or if you need to do work on it, you don't have to take the bottom plate off. You can, the heads will just flip right through these holes here, and it should be fine. Also, you have a lot of space in between the 2 bottom plates, which means that you can run your flightboard or your 4-in-1 ESC real low here and not have very much clearance, but you still have enough clearance for the well, plenty of room inside here for the battery strap to go through the opening there, and you know, make it easy to replace this if it rips or anything like that. It also comes with this little rubber piece, and this is designed to go down here on the bottom so that your battery rides on this and gives a little bit of grip to it so it doesn't slide out quite as easily. Now this only thing I noticed immediately is this battery strap seems kind of short. So I got my ruler here, and it's 220 millimeter battery strap, so it's going to be kind of short for something like a 6S battery. If you're running 4S, it should be fine, but for 6S it's just going to be too short. And I don't know, it seems like a lot of these straps, they should be coming in at 220, like up there instead, but I don't know. I don't know why people are still making 200 length battery straps for these kind of drones. Even a 4S battery, a 220 would be better, a 240 would be better for something like a 6S battery, just because they're so big and have so many cells in there. So here's the HGLRC Batman220 fully assembled. Comes in about 79 grams. So it's kind of on the high end of an ultralight frame. Once you get over 80, they kind of get out of the ultralight range, but 79 is kind of pushing the limits on this. Let's get some dimensions off this frame. These arms are 5 millimeters. The arms are about 9.7 millimeters wide. Motor spacing from front to rear is about 172 millimeters. Now one thing that's kind of odd about this, and I still don't think I quite understand, these arms in the back are a little bit closer than the arms in the front. If I measure these rear arms from center hole to center hole here, it's about 133, 134, something like that. And this is the rear of the quad. Up here in the front, if I use the same ruler up here in the front, then the arms come out a little bit wider. So I center it there, move it over here. It's about 138 or so, and I don't get it. So I took this bottom plate off and I swapped it around, and it still fit just fine. I took some of the arms and moved them around, and it still fit fine. So the front seems to be just a little bit wider than the spacing in the back here. That is the first time I've seen that. You know, it looks like it should have been the same on both sides, because like I said, I took this bottom plate off, flipped it around, so I don't get it. Anyway, first time for everything, I guess. With the camera mounts pushed forward a little bit like this, it should give you a little bit more room to get your run cam in here and have it lean back without interfering with your flight board. If you look here, you can see this is where the holes are, right back here for the flight board. And so this thing leaning back is going to have a little bit more room on that flight board. Also, if you can keep that 4-in-1 ESC down pretty tight down to the bottom without shorting anything out, and you know, at least a couple of spacers in there, then you'll have a little bit more, you'll be able to stack your flight board up on top of it and still keep it real low. And that's going to help with the camera angle, being able to lean back over top of that board a little bit if it needs to. Also, give you plenty of room up on top for your VTX. It also has these little holes here, which is where you can run some zip ties through to grab onto the VTX to hold it up on the top. And it has a mounting hole back here, and you can try to use some of this stuff to help hold your VTX antenna in place. It also has these little bumps back here on the bottom plate, and I guess these are for zip ties to go through there if you're trying to hold your wiring in place and hold it out of the props. But they don't have the same thing up in the front. It's just back here on the rear, but for some reason, I don't know. I don't know why, but they're there so you can use them if you need to. A little bit of custom work on this battery pad makes it fit just fine without interfering with the holes for the screws. Also included with the frame are two little small screws that are designed to be able to push through the carbon fiber side pieces and then reach into your camera to help hold it in place. A lot of the cameras come with some of these, but they're usually not the right length for different pieces of carbon fiber, so it's kind of nice that they included these. One other design feature about this frame, the flight board is actually centered directly in the middle of the frame. So you think, oh, that's what you want, right? Well, but today's flight boards, it doesn't necessarily have to be centered. If you look at the Floss frames or the Boss XL frames, they're kind of shifted to the rear a little bit. And that leaves a little bit more room up in the front to have your camera tuck away back a little bit more inside and get a little bit more protection out of it. Now, and here you can see that with the top plate being as large as it is, this front part gives a lot of protection to the camera. But back here in the back, you're not going to have anything stacked up back here, so it's not really giving protection to anything. So it's just, you know, how you lay out your flight board on your frame is more of a design preference than anything. But this idea that you're getting protection back here, I just, like, what are you protecting back there? Your VTX is probably going to be stuck to the top. Your receiver is probably going to be sandwiched in between your flight board and your ESC, or down underneath your 4-in-1 ESC. So I don't really know what this is actually protecting, if it's protecting anything, because it's not. So anyway, that's just something I noticed on these frames. Anyway, this is the Batman220 from HGLRC. They even have their name engraved in it up here. If you have any questions about this, leave them down in the comments. I'll try to help you out as best I can. And as always, thanks for watching.